To kick off our budgeting journey, we'll first delve into understanding your income. Now, when we talk about income, it's not just about your regular 9-to-5 job. Income is the total amount of money you receive from various sources. It could be your salary, yes, but it also includes any freelance work you do, side gigs you have, or passive income you earn. Maybe you have a blog that earns ad revenue, or you rent out your apartment on Airbnb over the weekends. All these are sources of income. Understanding your income is the foundation of personal budgeting. It's like knowing how much fuel you have in your car before embarking on a journey. You wouldn't want to run out of gas midway, would you? Similarly, you need to know how much money you have before you start planning how to spend it. So, grab a pen and paper, or open your favorite budgeting app, and start listing down all your sources of income. Write down your salary from your primary job, income from any part-time jobs or freelance gigs, returns from investments, and any other money you receive regularly. Don't forget to include things like bonuses or cash gifts that you may receive throughout the year. Once you've listed all your income sources, it's time to write down the amounts for each source. If the amount varies, like it might for freelance work, write down an average or estimate. The goal here is not to get an exact figure, but to get a good sense of your overall income. Now add up all the amounts. The total is your overall income. This is your financial starting point. This is the amount you have to work with when it comes to budgeting. Keep in mind, this is your pre-tax income. Taxes will need to be factored in when you start planning your expenses. Armed with the knowledge of your total income, you're ready for the next step of budgeting. Remember, understanding your income is just the first step in your journey towards financial freedom, but it's a crucial one. So, take the time to do it right. It's your money after all. The better you understand it, the better you can manage it. With a clear understanding of your income, we now move to the other side of the equation, tracking expenses. Now, why is this important? Well, it's simple. You can't manage what you don't measure. And in the world of personal finance, this means knowing where your money goes. Imagine your expenses as a river. Each dollar you spend is a drop of water flowing out. Without tracking, it's like trying to control the river's flow without knowing its course. But when you track your expenses, you're mapping out the river, understanding its twists and turns, and gaining the ability to direct its flow. So, how do we do this? Start by categorizing your expenses into two main types, fixed and variable. Fixed expenses are those that stay relatively the same each month. Think of these as the riverbed, the foundational course your money takes. These could be your rent or mortgage, utilities, and insurance. These are the bills that you know are coming every month, like clockwork. On the other hand, variable expenses are those that change from month to month. They're like the river's current, sometimes calm, sometimes wild. These might include groceries, dining out, entertainment, clothing, and personal care. These costs can fluctuate, and this is where you often have the most control. Now it's time to list all your expenses. You can use a pen and paper, a spreadsheet, or a budgeting app, whatever works best for you. The key is consistency. Make sure to track every dollar, even the small purchases. You'd be surprised how quickly that morning coffee or occasional takeout adds up over time. As you categorize your expenses, you'll start to see patterns, understand your spending habits, and identify areas where you might be overspending. This is valuable information, not just for creating a budget, but for making informed decisions about your money. Categorizing your expenses gives you a clear picture of where your money goes, setting the stage for effective budgeting. Remember, knowledge is power, and when it comes to personal finance, that power can lead to financial freedom. Knowing your income and expenses, you're ready to create a budget that works for you. This isn't just about numbers on a page, it's about creating a plan that helps you reach your financial goals. Start by allocating specific amounts to each of your expense categories. Remember those fixed and variable expenses we talked about earlier? Now's the time to assign them a portion of your income. But here's the kicker, your total expenses should never exceed your total income. If they do, you'll need to make some adjustments. This could mean cutting back on non-essential variable expenses or finding ways to increase your income. Now, let's talk about savings. This is a category that's often overlooked but is crucial to your financial health. Aim to save at least 10 to 20% of your income each month. If that seems daunting, start small and gradually increase your savings rate over time. The important thing is to make saving a habit. And what about emergencies? Well, they're just that, unexpected. But while we can't predict when they'll happen, we can prepare for them. Make sure to include a category in your budget for an emergency fund. This fund should ideally hold 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. It's your financial safety net. there to catch you when life throws a curveball your way. Creating a budget might seem like a daunting task, but it's really about understanding where your money is going and making sure it's working for you. It's about taking control of your financial future and paving the way towards financial freedom. Remember, a budget isn't a constraint, it's a tool. It gives you the freedom to spend without guilt, to save with purpose, and to invest in your future with confidence. With this budget, you're on your way to living within your means and achieving financial success. It's not about perfection, but progress. So, keep at it, adjust as needed, and watch your financial health improve over time. After all, the journey to financial freedom is a marathon, not a sprint. Now that you're on board with budgeting, let's talk about the significance of an emergency fund. You see, life has a knack for throwing curveballs when we least expect it. Car breakdowns, unexpected medical bills, sudden job loss, these are realities of life that can hit anyone, anytime. And that's where an emergency fund comes into play. Think of an emergency fund as your financial buffer, a stash of money set aside specifically to cover unforeseen expenses. It's not for vacations or the latest gadget, but for those rainy day situations that can otherwise derail your financial stability. Now you might be thinking, but I have insurance for emergencies. While insurance is indeed an essential part of financial planning, it doesn't cover everything. There could be deductibles or exclusions, and claims can take time to process. In contrast, an emergency fund is immediately accessible, providing a quick solution when you need it most. The importance of an emergency fund cannot be overstated. It provides a sense of financial security and reduces stress during difficult times. Moreover, it prevents you from resorting to high-interest debt solutions like credit cards or loans, which can lead to a vicious cycle of debt. So how much should you save in your emergency fund? A good rule of thumb is to aim for 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. This might sound like a daunting task, but remember, you don't have to save it all at once. Start small and gradually build up. Every dollar saved is a step towards financial resilience. Consider keeping your emergency fund in a separate, easily accessible account, ideally one that earns interest. This way, your money is readily available when you need it, yet distinct from your daily spending money. An emergency fund is your financial safety net, offering peace of mind in uncertain times. It's an integral part of personal budgeting and a cornerstone of financial security. So as you work on your budget, remember to prioritize building your emergency fund. Your future self will thank you. Budgeting is an ongoing process. Let's explore how to review and adjust your budget for maximum effectiveness. Now you've done the hard work. You've created a budget, but the journey doesn't end there. The reality is, budgeting is not a one-and-done deal. It's an ongoing process that requires regular reviews and adjustments. Why, you ask? Because life happens. Your income may change, your expenses might fluctuate, and your financial goals are likely to evolve. So, how often should you review your budget? A good rule of thumb is to do a quick check-in at the end of each month. This will give you an overview of how well you're sticking to your budget. Did you overspend in some areas? Were there unexpected expenses that popped up? Use this time to reflect on your spending habits and make necessary adjustments. But monthly check-ins aren't enough. In addition to these, it's crucial to do a more comprehensive review every 6 months or so. This half-yearly checkup allows you to take a deeper look at your financial habits and goals. Have your income or expenses changed significantly? Are you on track to meet your savings goals? If not, it might be time to adjust your budget. Now let's talk about adjustments. Say you consistently overspend in one category. Instead of beating yourself up about it, consider whether this is a sign that your budget allocation needs tweaking. Maybe you've underestimated how much you spend on groceries, or perhaps you're spending more on dining out than you initially thought. Adjust your budget to reflect these realities, but remember, the goal is to live within your means, not stretch your budget to accommodate unnecessary spending. And finally, don't forget to revisit your financial goals regularly. Are you saving for a house? Planning for retirement? Your budget should reflect these goals. If your circumstances or priorities change, so should your budget. Remember, flexibility in budgeting is key to long-term success. Keep reviewing and adjusting, and you're on your way to financial freedom.